Hello, 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 and welcome to the monthly read with Sonia Estelle. Today I am reading from the homie Ellen's SACRA Soul Intentions Oracle. You see how pretty that is. La! And it's funny, I was singing even before I picked this up. Little town, it's a quiet village. Every day like the one before. Little town filled with little people waking up to say. We're going to figure it out because this is a word oracle deck, okay? I haven't turned them over yet, but what we're going to do is we're going to go through the words as they are on the card, and then I'm also going to give you the etymology because that is what Spirit wants me to do for our April monthly read. So, as you should know, or as you may know now, the monthly read is my spread that I created called C.O.A. It's the first card is our concern, the second card is our opportunity or our obstacle, and the third card is our advantage or our aversion. And so I always read them in that order, and there's usually, consistently for almost a year or more now, there's been 3 cards every monthly read. So if this is your first monthly read, welcome. Thank you for coming. So for the concern, we have finish, finishing, and finished. Finish, what would you like to finish? Finishing, what is blocking you from finishing what you have started? And finished, what have you finished recently? So we can use these as working questions, right? Finish, what would you like to finish? Something that I would like to finish is the rewrite of my first novel in a fantasy trilogy, okay? Something, finishing, so that's finished. That's something I would like to finish. Finishing, what is blocking you from finishing what you have started? What's blocking me is feeling busy with other things that I'm equally or more interested in, but also this idea that it's so much that sitting down isn't enough, right? Like my idea is that if I have this more all or nothing mentality, this binary mentality where I'm like, well, I want the book to be finished. And the idea is that I have to sit down a little bit every day to get it finished, right? If I don't, it will never get finished. So the idea of wanting a finished book and the idea of finishing a book are different ideas. So what is finished? Since I want a finished book and not a finished book. Since I want a finished book and I don't want to be finishing a book, what is finished? Finish is what have you finished recently? So some things that I've finished recently that have created space for this idea of my book to come and permeate more and to be more present in my mind space, in my dead time. If you're my Doing the Most clients and you just came to my first cards in channeling or rewatched, thank you so much. But my tool number 4 is dead time tool. So actually that might be, no, I think it's tool number 4. It's the dead time. So what I've recently finished is my taxes, fixing my health insurance, fixing my student loans, and catching up with readings and clients who I owed things. And so I just finished that, and it created all this mental space for the book that I also want to be finishing, my creative concern. Now let's look at the etymology of finish. From the verb finish. Late 14th century, it came into English to bring to an end. Comes from Old French, from the particle stem of finire, stop, finish, come to an end, die. From Latin, finiti, to limit, set bounds, put an end to, come to an end. From finis, that which divides, a boundary, a border, figuratively, a limit, an end, close, conclusion, an extremity, highest point, greatest degree. Which is an unknown origin, so finish, of unknown origin, perhaps related to figere or the verb fix. Let's follow our noses. Interesting. Fix's etymology finds its root in Proto-Indo-European to pierce, stick in, hence to fix or fasten, right? To secure something in something else. Finish him. Did you not just get that Mortal Kombat? Finish him with Scorpion going like this. So, to finish is to stick a fork in it. It's done, And the concern here is that we would like to be finishing things that are done and that we would like to be finishing things let me correct that since I have such a wordy. We would like to be finished with things that are done. We would like to be finishing things that need to be done. And we would love to finish those things that are not yet done. So this is the state of completion. This is the state of being in the process. And this is the state of before the process. As our opportunity obstacle continues, we have, interestingly enough, maybe for you, grieve, grieving, and grieved. Grieve, we have who, what do you need to grieve? Grieving, we have what is holding you back from fully grieving. And grieved, we have who, what have you grieved recently? So to answer the questions and to do the exercise, grieve, who, what do you need to grieve? I've needed to grieve, I've needed to grieve versions of myself that have not caught up to my mental state, right? Like I'm obviously still recovering from my dad's passing last year, which was very rapid in the succession of when we knew it was happening and when it happened. And so even though I processed and sang and did lots of things that helped me express my grieving, there's still a lot of aspects of my character and my personality that haven't caught up yet. And I'm still learning to express myself more clearly and with explanation, since I'm no longer just coming from the thought process of somebody who is living in the reality that everybody has known me in for practically 32 years, right? Now I'm in a whole new reality where my dad doesn't exist on the earth. And so I have to grieve, versions of myself that are still catching up. And maybe it seems strange to grieve what is showing up now, but what's showing up now is an indication of things that have been long under the surface. So I'm in the process of grieving past versions of myself that have barely lived and versions of myself that are just catching up to the versions of me that have been living. Grieving, what is holding you back from fully grieving? Holding me back from fully grieving is ideas about productivity, ideas about what grieving is, and ideas about what actually looks like a healthy amount of time to do these things. Because obviously my conception as time is completely influenced by not only capitalism, but the idea of linear framing. And so I'm thinking about things as if they're in succession. But if you've taken any readings with me or heard anything I've said, I talk about the multidimensionality of reality and the fact that all time exists at once and infinity is extending out in all directions. And so infinity isn't even linear. It's not 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 all the way to infinity, but infinity is in all directions. And we are simply cohering what we think of as our linear narrative through what moments in time we choose to connect to and hold on to and stick together as our linear past, our linear experience. And then what grieved, I said, who, what have you grieved recently? Well, as I said, my papa. I've grieved versions of me that imagine things were differently than they are. And I've grieved versions of me that imagine that I would be valued in ways that I haven't. So let's see, or haven't yet. I looked in the wrong camera, or haven't yet. So let's look up what grieve means in the etymology. Came into English circa 1200s from Old French, afflict, burden, oppress, from Latin, gravere, make heavy, cause grief, from gravis, weighty, from the Proto-Indo-European word spelled Gwere, theoretically pronounced that way, meaning heavy. So grieving is what is heavy. What is heavy on your chest? What is heavy on your shoulders? What is heavy on your head? What is heavy on your heart? And consider that when we think about these things, the shoulders, the chest, the heart, the head, these are all in our upper energy centers, in our upper central points. And so it's a matter of higher learning when we are learning to lighten up on ourselves, be enlightened, and also to recognize that transition is very natural and it's not always something that we're necessarily going to have to grieve as a species, as a society, as a people. The more that we come accustomed and come to terms with, in a healthy way, earlier on, the fact that things transition and things change, then the less grieving one actually has to do at any particular outset. You'll learn how to grieve a little bit every day and just incorporate the natural process of change and the natural acceptance of change in the ways that you do your day-to-day existences. So this is our opportunity obstacle, right? This is what's we consider either a elevation stone, which I use to replace the ableist sense of stepping stone, or we use as a roadblock, right? So we can release and appreciate and let go of what's heavy and be grateful for that. Or we can let go of what's heavy and be upset about becoming lighter, or resent ourselves for becoming lighter, or have some idea that if we're not heavy, that we're not actually experiencing realistically or having a reality that pertains to the truth, as if to be weighed down is the natural disposition of the human. It's okay. We can be light beings too, and we're not just heavy beings. We can be light beings too, and we can do it all as well. We can shed what's heavy to be light, and we can appreciate what's heavy to get light as well. Finally, we have the advantage or the aversion. The advantage or aversion is like, what about our own character is helping us or hindering us? And whether we are, being an ally, a companion, helpful to ourselves, or whether we are committing self-sabotage, right? And the word that we have as our advantage aversion is manifest, manifesting, manifested. So, manifest. What would you like to manifest? Manifesting. What is blocking you from manifesting your dreams, wholeness, expansion, and manifested? What have you manifested recently? Well, as you know, I've been answering the question. So character-wise, manifest. What would I like to manifest? I would like to get this show that I've been taping on the road. And in the process, this show that I've been signed up to tape, that I will tell you guys about when I can tell you about it. And I would like to be a published author, whether that means my love letter series or the first book in my novel or something else completely that I've been thinking about writing. All of these things I would love to manifest. And I would love to manifest like the stability of a seasonal schedule, a home, a sense of like revolution, actually. Like I would like to start revolving around more than just my own existence. And I've done a really great job of making myself the home. But now that I've done that for like the first 34 years of my life, I'm very excited to start embarking on extending my sense of home into places and into provinces, right? Places being the buildings, provinces being the geographical location. So like that's something I would like to manifest. Manifesting. What is blocking you from manifesting your dreams, wholeness, expansion? I'm not blocked, but I am, I can only do so many things at one time, and then there's the natural order of allowing my passion to be the organizing principle of my existence, and then appreciating that what I don't get done in a day is just not what was necessary to get done, because existence is completely efficient. And so long as I'm organizing by my most efficient means, making my passion the organizing principle of my existence, using synchronicity indicators, which I say it also give the tool to my doing the most patrons, where I'm talking about like allowing the natural synchronicity compass and clock of existence to inform you about whether you're in right timing, right? So I don't necessarily feel blocked. I know I'm exactly where I need to be, doing exactly what I need to do. But that also means that I'm learning where I am hesitating and where I am not letting myself be fully expressed. And so that's what I'll talk about as blockages. So like what's keeping me from that is ideas that I can't be as full as I am, ideas that I cannot do all the things that I am feeling called to do. And then the lethargy that is created from the overstimulation of my intellect in those ideas, which then creates a lot of energetic output, which then makes me tired, which then has gives me less energy to actually do the things that I'm continuing to circle around in my mind over and over and over again, making myself tired like a hamster wheel. And last but not least, manifested. What have I manifested recently? I manifested a television show. I manifested spring cohort for Dreamscapes, which is open for all levels of registration. I manifested healthier, positive relationships with people who I was having misunderstandings with. And I've manifested, a new booking schedule, new booking prices, and a new way of being related to by clients. So what does manifest's etymology mean? Let us see. Manifest from the adjective, verb comes from the adjective. So, late 14th century, it came into English, clearly revealed to the eye or the understanding open to view or comprehension from Old French, manifeste. I'm sure that's not how you say it. Evident, palpable, directly from Latin, manifestus. Plainly apprehensible, clear, apparent, evident, proved by direct evidence. And then that comes from manus, which means hand. And this all comes from the Proto-Indo-European of hand. And festus, which apparently is identical to the second element of infest. Okay, let's go to second, infest. Festus, perhaps able to be or seized. So able to be seized by the hand. What we can hold. We don't have to think of it so appendage literally, but like, what can you hold? What can you actually be a container for? So this is absolutely appropriate as an advantage aversion card, because it's like, what about a character is helping or hindering us? It's like, are you actually holding for what you have the capacity to hold for? And if not, are you expending more energy than you need to, trying to be a container for something that you're not appropriate for? Meanwhile, all the things that you actually are appropriate to be a container for are sitting around waiting for you to take hold. So I hope that for April fire season that you found this really useful. Again, this is my homie Ellen SACRA Soul Intentions Oracle. I will provide a link in the post. And thank you so much for being here with me, and I'll see you all in May. Cheers.